The black tanks are on sale, and while we've gone over the newest World War II tank already, there is one other black tank that I own that you can buy right now. That is the TL-7 Black, one of the 4 American Tier 9 premium tank destroyers. This tank has a 120mm gun. It deals 360 alpha damage a shot with 4 shots in a clip. With a 2-second intro clip, that means it unloads in 6 seconds, dealing 1440 potential clip damage. This is some good damage output, but then you're put on a pretty long 40-second base reload. Fully equipped, I got the tank down to a 31.6-second base reload, and even with food active in the match, the reload doesn't go below 30 seconds, so it's still pretty long fully equipped, which is something you must remember when dumping. You better have cover nearby or no close danger that can utilize your long reload to their benefit. This long reload gives it a DPM value of 1879, but remember, since it's an autoloader, it's all about that burst damage. If you've played the GSOR 1008, that was earned in a season pass at some point, it honestly plays a lot like that with its long reload and quick burst damage. Now onto its rounds, it's firing standard AP rounds with 252mm of penetration and 1060 shell speed, with premium APCR rounds with a very good 315mm of penetration and a very fast 1492 shell speed. These rounds are pretty good, especially that fast flying APCR round. Even if the Grom has spoiled us with 1600 shell speed, this near 1500 shell speed will still feel very nice when sniping at distance. As for its gun handling, it sounds rough at a 0.4 base accuracy and 2.7 seconds of aim time, but honestly, even without the ability to run vert stabs as your tank destroyer, I promise you, you can unload even at distance with that quick 2-second intro clip with much confidence that the follow-up shots will connect, even without waiting for that aim time. This thing hits its shots no matter the bloom, more so than other tanks in 6.0. It honestly feels like its reticle is the old style reticle where it's much bigger than it actually is, rather than the true reticle size that we have now. That's not confirmed by the way, but it just feels that way to me. I feel so confident shooting this tank at bloom, and not just because of 6.0, but uniquely to this tank in particular. I can't describe it any other way. It too also has 10 degrees of gun depression, which is fantastic and will work ridges very well and make use of its armor. So let's look at that armor now. It's not a reliably armored vehicle, but it can work. Its face is a nice pointed nose with some decent thicknesses that will come in handy when hold down on a ridge. But of course, as you can see, it has this pretty large cupola, which is still visible when using maximum gun depression. It also has this spaced armor far on its cheeks and around the side of the turret, as well as on the front and mid sides of the hull to help against heat and HE rounds. It rarely will come in handy as tanks don't need to spam heat at this one in particular, and it's not paper enough to load HE in the first place, but it is there. Its upper plate is a decently well angled 100mm, but because the tank is so low profile and there's really no lower plate, that upper plate is well below any tank's gun, meaning they're shooting down at it most of the time for some really easy pens. It's a tank that can get you some block damage, but only in its optimal hold down ridge poking situation, and even then the enemy just needs to aim at the weak point to take it out. So rely on your concealment over your armor in this tank destroyer. With only 1500 HP to play with too, you can't trade really well with the tank unless you'll finish off the enemy with your clip. It's among the lowest of tier 9 tank destroyers and isn't meant for brawling or trading too much. But inherently with an autoloader you will trade better against the majority of tanks you take on. But with the low HP, it's a last resort to trade rather than willingly doing it from the start, because again, if they come close to you, you're on a long reload. Your mobility is pretty good to get you into your initial positions with a 50km/h top speed. It's only got 480 horsepower, but that gives it a 17.14 power to weight ratio. This is pretty good on its own, but the tank does suffer when its position is encroached upon. It only has a 13km/h reverse speed, meaning you should poke up the rear of your tank with your fully traversable turret so you can retreat with your 50 top speed instead of that 13 reverse. But the tank is also pretty mediocre when being spun around with its 24 tracked reverse speed. Turning in this tank felt very sluggish, especially when turning on the move. With that 50 top speed giving you the illusion of a nimble tank, it's fast, but it's not nimble. It's a limitation of the tank you'll learn to live with though and play around, on top of not wanting to be caught on a reload, so they work hand in hand. You just don't want to be caught in general because of its reverse and traverse speeds as well. Its concealment is pretty good for a tank destroyer, being roughly on par with something like the Baby Waffle, but without all that view range, having only 370 view range. This is the lower end of view ranges, but it's got good concealment because of it. You'll need to rely on your team like most other tank destroyers, but if you do happen to have to spot for yourself, be wary of your reverse speed of course, and be set up to run after your 6-second clip dump, which despite being fast, is still long enough for the enemies to get shots in at you. Make sure you're picking your trades or shots wisely. So it's a decent tank overall, with good burst damage and pen, nice straight line speeds, and good concealment and gun depression, but some lackluster maneuverability, view range, and reload times. Its accuracy sounds rough too, but it's pretty reliable in practice. It's honestly a fun tank in my opinion, and a well balanced one too, but nowadays its power has been surpassed. There are 3 other tier 9 American premium tank destroyers, and 2 of them are easily much better than this tank, while the TS-60 is the only other one that you would choose based on your playstyle in comparison to the TL-7. Funnily enough too, the Americans are the only nation so far with tier 9 premium tank destroyers. But yeah, the tank is good, but the meta has degraded so much that it might not feel good to some players that might be spoiled by the likes of the AET-60 or other tanks these days. The tank is available until the end of the season for 10,700 gold, which there are other black tanks that are cheaper you could get instead, like the new tier 9 and the 703-2, but this tank is not a bad grab if you decide to do so. Also, because it's a black tank, just like the tier 10 one, this one also has a 25% silver bonus. You won't be printing silver, but you will be making some decent silver, even when shooting premium in this tank. Do not buy it though just because it's the only tier 9 with a silver bonus. Please don't do that. Only get the tank if you think it fits your playstyle and it's the one you want. Before we get into some gameplay, let's go over my loadout. As it's a tank destroyer with an autoloader, it gets no vert stabs or gun rammer, so it's pretty obvious in my eyes to go with optics, camo net, and vents. You could drop optics for a gun lane drive to help out that aim time for better aim shots between your intro clip, but like I said, it feels pretty accurate regardless, and thus that is unnecessary in my eyes. I'm running with a premium repair kit, food rations, and a standard med kit, and my commander has my usual tank destroyer setup of 6th sense, rapid loading, steady aim, situational awareness, snapshot, born leader, run and gun, camo expertise, and silent driving. You could drop run and gun for muffled shot, but I didn't. Now on to the gameplay. And here we are on the first of 2 games I wanted to share with you guys today on Nomahan. Now, these were recorded I believe last month, and I had quite a lot of them to go through, but I didn't want this video to be too long, as this tank isn't, you know, the special new hotness or anything. So I decided 2 of the many good games that I had to showcase. Now, despite me having many good games, many 5,000 damage, 6,000 damage games, I'm not showing you all of my 6k damage games. I'm only showing you this one because it's the highest damage one that I got, and it was honestly interesting. It was also my highest mastery badge, if I'm not mistaken. Now, speaking of the mastery badges, again, despite having all these good games, I never aced this tank in my play sessions with it for the video. Have I aced this tank in the past? Let me see. One sec. Have I aced this tank in the past? I believe I have, but I didn't get any good, or well, I didn't get any ace tanker games in the current time frame that I was recording with. I have aced it in the past, yeah. This is one of those vehicles that's rarely played, so when a vehicle becomes rarely played, the ace tanker becomes very high. And even though I've gotten 1700 base XP, 1800 base XP games in this vehicle, those are only second classes, even the 1700 base XP ones, like you'll see at the in the second video. So it's kind of spoiler there, that's the second class, but yeah. I don't have an ace tanker for you, but I still have good games. And I just feel like saying that because, well, the ace is super hard to get. I played enough of this game or of this tank that I didn't feel like continuing to go for one. Again, I love to provide you ace tankers if I could, but when a vehicle is this old and this not played, you really have to have an extravagant game, like one that is just once in a blue moon. Anyway, what are we doing here? You've done no damage so far. It's more than 2 minutes into the match. It's Nomahan. We're waiting. opportunity arises if we're patient enough, right? We have a big contingent of tanks in the A4 area, and they're being encroached upon. They're being pushed. So what do? Well, I just wait for them to be pushed. Maybe I'll get shots, like on this Panzerjäger. Oop, I was aiming a little bit too long. Maybe this Bat Chat. Nope. Maybe the Panzerjäger will back up. Who knows? The Bat Chat does run into the edge of the map, so we are going to be able to get 2 shots off into him, but he gets behind a rock just in time to save himself. Then we hit this pretty darn good shot on this Panzerjäger, and we'll hit him again for 1451 of the first clip of the game. 11 damage above the average clip damage. So we finally got a clip out, but it's already 10 to 15. Playing as a tank destroyer, this is something you're used to seeing. Your entire team loses a flank, and you have to do something drastic about it. You have to either hold your own or run. Since I have an autoloader and a really long reload time, so unfortunately we didn't get to shoot the side of that Chinese tank destroyer we saw up on the hill, there's no way we're going to hold our own. So we just have to opportunistically take shots when we can. Luckily that guy gives us 3. We have 1 left in the mag, but it's 9 to 14 and they're already in our cap. So what to do? Well, we'll shoot at this guy. We make sure to aim that one. So now we've gotten 2 clips out worth of damage. 2902. But how are we going to win this? And of course now we're being pinged like it's our fault for losing the north from the entire team. The entire enemy team pushing that way. You can't, in this vehicle, clip out vehicles in 1 mag. Unless you're fighting a medium tank at tier 8 or something, or potentially a tier 9 light tank. You're not clipping out anything. So I can't do anything but continue to run and snipe. Unfortunately, our first shot misses. He repairs instantly. Our 3rd shot misses after we get the 2nd shot track. And we only put 2 into him out of our 4 magazine. And when that happens, it really does start to feel rough in terms of your damage output. Because now I'm on this 30-second long reload time, not a cooldown. And I couldn't help the bar. But the bar didn't need my help. The bar actually kills the machine. Thank goodness. Now I have to either make the decision to go towards the south and help the team cap, and hope that the bar can stop the cap, or I go and help the bar stop the cap. And that's what I'm going to do, because there's no way this bar is going to make it on his own. So, oh, that's a full health mouse. And he spotted me. Maybe he didn't. Maybe the tank destroyer to my left did that. Is a 2684. Some very well armored and full HP vehicles rolling up on me. That's something you typically see when a entire flank gets lost, is that the slow tanks that couldn't even help in the domination of that flank have full HP. I'm trying my best to get distance, but then I realize I still need to stop the cap. So I'm going to ignore the mouse and go as far away as possible, because this bar probably doesn't have the gun depression to stop whatever's right in front of him. You see how close he is to the medium tank, and yet he hasn't stopped it. But the medium tank jumps off the cap. Okay. I'm still not going to fight the mouse. I still want to go and help the bar here. And the mouse thinks I went into the city. That's good news for me. But what's not good news is that the bar is dead. We have 1 tank on the enemy on the enemy side of the map, and he stopped capping. So it looks like in a moment I'm going to be all alone. Luckily he takes out another tank, the Conway. So it's only a 2 versus 6 right now, and this Bat Chat's 1 shot. So maybe I'll make it a 2 versus 5. I do, but unfortunately here soon, you know the grill's going to die. Which puts me in a Call of Banov scenario, right? Cone, is this why you just decided to show us this clip? I'll just wait and see. Just watch. Just watch. I have 3 in the mag. I know there's 1 other tank over here. I don't know what it is, because there's 2 heavy tanks and 3 tank destroyers left alive. I know it's not a Jaegeru because he just killed the grill on the other side of the map. We know where one of the mouses is, or one of the mice, and we saw the other heavy tank was spotted over there. So we know it's one of 2 tank destroyers. and it's not the Jaegeru. I have not reloaded because I felt like I might not have needed to. We do get outspotted by an HMH ISU 130, who, if we had reloaded, we'd be able to mag dump. Now, you might be questioning, well, why is he just sitting there? After this game, I got a message from him. And someone, actually no, I didn't realize it was him until he messaged me, that his controller was messing around, which is why you saw after I killed the Bat Chat, or during the time I was killing the Bat Chat, he was going in and out of the capture. And it wasn't intentional. He just couldn't control the vehicle. And now he's just AFK. Okay, so it's a 1 versus 4. But what sucks about him being AFK in the position that he was, and that I didn't reload, is that my position has been given away to the enemy tanks for quite a long time now. And now this full health mouse wants to make a reappearance. Now earlier he shot me and penned me. Now he shoots me with HE and doesn't pen me. I don't believe he shot me with HE before, but interesting that he decided to load HE, right? This is not a vehicle that is a paper tank. And even if it is, it's got spaced armor. Sure, not from the front directly on, but I wouldn't load HE if I were him. That HE shot from him is going to bite his team in the ass here in a moment. Because had he just shot me with a regular round, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm about to do. I will spoil this. Actually, no, I won't. No, I won't. Stop spoiling things, Cone. Why spoil things? We've done 5,000 damage so far, and we've gotten rid of 1 tank in a 1 versus 5. So what's left? Well, we know there's another mouse. Both heavy tanks left alive are mice. And we know there's a Jaegeru. Now guess what? This mouse has 1465 HP. I have to high roll my magazine by 25 to be able to take him out. That's not likely. This Jaegeru is a one-shot if I don't low roll by more than 15. So, hopefully I don't, right? It's looking like a decent opportunity here to do something. They don't know where I am, but this mouse has enough knowledge to know, hey, if he ran past us, he could be going up towards our spawn. And the Jaegeru kind of senses the same thing. They're also in a platoon. We don't one-shot the Jaegeru, but we do two-shot him. Now we have 40 or 5,500 damage. And there's a 1,400 HP mouse rolling up on us. So you want to know what I decided to do? I thought, no way I'm getting any more damage this game. So let me just go put these two into the mouse while I still have HP to play with. I thought he'd be further to my left, going around the rock. And he pens me with a full round. But because that other mouse shot me with HE and didn't full pen me, I get to do this. With 2 in the mag, I two-shot the mouse. But the other mouse was quick enough. And he had a shot. So we jumped up to 7,000 damage. But we lose. We got it down to a 1 versus 2, but we MVP'd on a loss. And even this MVP on a loss is only a first class. I believe we also already had the mark, so this mark wasn't new or anything, but unfortunate, really. There was a mouse and a 2684, both still full health, that would have taken multiple clips to get through. So, I'm happy with the result. Now, this second game, we're actually top tier on steps. This one, you potentially, funny enough, you potentially might have already seen this video. If you happen to see my platoon mates' perspectives. They both have posted this one to YouTube already. But here's my perspective, right? Here's the TL-7 Black's perspective. It is skewed spawn steps, something I am very against, as the map isn't designed for these skewed fights. Pardon my phone notification. Let me turn that off. Everyone say hi to Buck. It was him. Thank you, Buck. So, where was I? Steps. Skewed spawn. Not great. none of our team except my platoon is coming to the top left. And that's something you need to do. That's atypical of how this map plays as well. Usually, the bottom left team takes the top left for free because the top right team doesn't want to drive out in the field and get to the thing slower than we would, yada yada, right? This is atypical to how this map plays. But it's alright, because I believe in my platoon. And they got me, right? We're going to help them out because they have no other help besides each other. And there's nothing else for me to shoot at. Sure, there's a heavy tank in the middle of the map that looks like I'd be able to shoot him, but I gotta help the team. I gotta help my platoon mates. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna eat up this Tiger 1, remove a gun from the field. I could have shot the 257 because he's a tier 9 and he's a lot more deadly. But removing a gun is always better than shooting the deadliest target because you can now deal with the deadliest target without him having a tier 7 to back him up. What sucks though is I am now put on a very long reload. But there's 2 of my team and the T-29 doesn't want to help the 257. So the 257 is getting ripped apart by my Arachnid and Concept 1B. Unfortunately there he low rolls below 300 so he doesn't finish him off, but I will. Now this T-29 is our only opposition. He decides to come around the corner. We barely miss. He gets a shot on our turret. That kind of sucked, didn't it? But now there's an E50. And I didn't think he would look at me. He did. That scared me a little bit. Then he looks like he was looking away and then he does a quick turnaround. And I'm like, oh boy, I need help right now. I only have 2 in the mag. This is an E50. I'm going to put my shots into him. I track him. I decide the best thing for me to do is to go this way. But then I see my teammates there. So I slow down so I don't block his shots. He bounces one still. But luckily I bounced one. I got 390 block damage. I don't know how he did it. He had my side. But thankfully the E50's removed and I still have 439 HP to play with. This allows me to still tank another shot from a vehicle with 390 alpha or lower. So that's pretty nice, right? We've reloaded now and we're going to take out artillery. We put a nice fire shot into him and then finish him off. And now I have 2 in the mag instead of 1. So I decide, let me take some shots at this Lycan. I didn't need to finish him off, but that just means I have 1 more shot to play with. I really want to hit this Maushan, and he's going to let me too. So that fire on the artillery helped quite a bit. Hit the Maushan, now you can see his playstyle kind of changed. Once he realizes he can get shot from over here, he's less aggressive. So I'm glad that I didn't have to finish off the Lycan. I had a platoon mate do it for me. I'm glad I had 2-shot the artillery so I could make that Maushan a little bit more scared. We're now back to that long reload though, but we're almost done. 3,300 damage. Our platoon has secured the top of the map, but the enemy team is pushing on our cap circle. Should be fine though, right? It's 8-6. I'm not too worried at this point. We also have 476 spotting damage, or assisted damage, I should say, and we have 1 medal of tracking and assisted. So we know we got a shot on that E50M, and which gave us half of that. The rest is somehow spotting. No, I'm not going to speculate. He was on that Lycan. He was pretty far. Doesn't matter. We have 3,800 combined. It's 6-5 now, though. It's starting to get a little scary because if you notice, what happened to all of our teammates that were on the cap circle? We had 4 of them there. Well, one of them was artillery, and he's run off. The other 3 have died. And now it's our Arachnid platoon mate who is stuck in between this Ragnarok and 3 enemy tanks. Us 2 over here, and artillery. So really it's a 3 versus 4, but the 3 has 2 artillery backup. This Ragnarok's full HP, and now it's a 4 versus 4, so now it's basically 2 versus 4, but we have artillery support. You saw that I didn't shoot at a 20 HP artillery, and that's so that I didn't have to reload, or I had enough in the mag. Artillery did, it was either artillery or my platoon mate, lowered that Ragnarok's HP down to 1 HP. I get to finish him off. So now it's a 2 versus 3. We got rid of the Ragnarok, which was full HP. Very nice. We didn't take a single shot's worth of damage either. We can tank a shot from one of the scariest tanks in the game on the enemy team, by the way. The Night Stalker. We can hopefully rely on him missing with his low shell speed. But if he hits us, we can at least tank one of them. What we cannot tank is a shot from the Maushan unless he low rolls, as he has a 490 alpha gun. Unless he's stock, then he has a 440. Even then, he has to low roll. So we're kind of scared. The other light tank, by the way, or the enemy light tank, is a Tiefbreaker, and now both of our artillery are gone. So back when I said it was a 2 versus 3 with artillery support, nope, it's not. It's just a 2 versus 3. This Maushan, rightfully scared. He doesn't want to be the one to tank any more hits unless he has to. I have an autoloader, so he can't really do that if he wants to. Now, my platoon mate is one shot to the Maushan, same way I am, but in a worst case scenario, where if it was the 440 alpha gun on the Maushan, he is still one-shottable quite consistently. Now, we don't know where the other two tanks are, so I take these shots. I take those shots. Maushan starts to look this way. Luckily, Night Stalker, low shell speed, saves us, but we could have still tanked it. Put the Maushan to a one-shot, so my platoon mate finishes him off. Night Stalker's definitely looking at me, so I'm waiting. I use the dead tank cover, just in case he blind fires me, as a little bit of support. Now I notice the light tank is on my teammate's rear, and knowing that the shell speed of the Night Stalker would be slow, and I could tank a hit, I decide to poke, even if that means I get spotted, to take out the Tiefbreaker before he takes out my platoon mate. And luckily I did, because if I remember correctly, my platoon mate did fire, and so it was only a matter of time until that Tiefbreaker clipped him out. Night Stalker, even if he unloads his whole mag, I haven't been counting, I wouldn't want to poke. He has a quick reload. Teammate puts a shot into him. He decides to put his focus onto my teammate. That gives me time to poke up and finish him off, putting us at 5,400 damage and 6 kills for a nice, crucial contribution with my platoon mates, Strike and Jake and State Farm. 3 kills each from them, 6 kills from myself. 1780 base XP, like I told you, is a second class. Can you believe that? I mean, I believe it because it's 1788 XP. I believe it should have been a first class, though, for tier 9. But again, what we know about this vehicle is it's old, nobody plays it, so pretty hard to ace nowadays. But 6 kills, 5,300 damage, nicely played at the end. I think it was nice work under pressure. We got a very cool, crucial contribution. And that is the TL-7 Black. In these clips, you saw some snapshots, some nasty shots. I even shared one in the review portion. Its accuracy feels pretty good. Its damage output feels fair. And it's got good pen. It's got great shell speeds as well, even if the Grom exists. And overall, it's a vehicle that I do recommend. If you want to pick it up, pick it up. Is it going to be the best thing in the game? Of course not. We have broken the game to no ends, but it's a vehicle that I do enjoy. I do play it from time to time, and I enjoy it every time I do. But that is it for the TL-7 Black review. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.